Okay, and then we almost have Facebook going live. It's setting up the Facebook Live, yay! So we are doing an Increase Your Impact and Income Masterclass, and I always love to make these ones a little bit like different and unique and fun so that it's like not the same content every time. You guys get new and exciting content, different downloads, different things. So for this experience, I was going to get everyone to do some pleasure first at the beginning. So just get you to like shut your eyes, take some deep breaths to really like ground yourself in this present moment, in your body. And just taking deep breaths, noticing how that feels in your body to stop and take the time for deep breaths. And just giving your body a stretch in any way that feels good, allowing yourself to really be here now in your body. So if that's doing shoulder stretches or stretching out your feet or your legs, doing like circles with anything on your body, just grounding. And then I invite you to take your hands and just massage anything that feels good on your body. So if you want to massage your hands, you can massage your hands. You can go to your shoulders if your shoulders need some love. If you want to just like give your body a hug. I know that we're living in times where we don't get to like have a ton of physical touch right now. So just loving our bodies with physical touch, with massage, with sensual touch all over your body, whatever's feeling pleasurable and good and yummy and delicious right now in this moment. Just giving yourself that permission and breathing with it. Letting your hands wander, finding other places on your body you haven't touched yet or might need a different type of touch or scratch or caress, however you want to like feel into right now. And give yourself a nice scalp massage if you need that today. Whatever's feeling good to be embodied and grounded. And finding the pleasure in the next touch that you do. How can you make it even more pleasurable? Does slowing it down feel better? The speeding up, just like creating energy feel better. What feels good in your body to play with? And then we'll do one last touch. If you haven't touched your back or your legs and you want to do that, give your body a nice wake-up call. And then you can come to stillness. Again, focusing on your breath and just noticing how that's feeling. Noticing what's going on in your body, whatever's coming up, if there's tingles or heat or chills or vibration that you're feeling, whatever's coming up, just breathing into that and noticing. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, stretch it out again if you want to. Being super awake and alive, ready to receive all this information, hear things in a new way that you've never heard or fully like integrated before, getting ready to embody new things, receive healing downloads that'll just completely change your life because I'm here to provide a ton of value for you in this next hour or so. So you are here at the Increase Your Impact and Income Masterclass. I'm so excited to be sharing the common gaps that I see that are showing up for light workers because it is like so needed for light workers to just shine their light in the world right now. We've seen a lot of things go on in 2020 and the negative impacts it's had on people, and the isolation and the fear and the separation and all the things that we know is going on in the world. And we get to choose to show up, to shine our bright lights, to support the people who need this medicine, who are looking for support, and whose gifts and like your energy and your mission and the way that you're going to speak your like message to them is going to be the thing that changes their life. So I'm super excited to share the gaps that I see in light workers so that you guys can close them and show up even bigger and brighter to have the amazing impact in the world that you're here to have. So I'm super excited. So the 7 main gaps that I see in people's world, just to give you like a bit of agenda before we go into them, is subconscious limiting belief systems. And this is the underlining thing I see in so many of my clients, so many peers, so many people around me, and that I even have too. Like, we're all dealing with our subconscious programming because we only have like 5% conscious mind. The other 95% is subconscious. And I want to get into all the juicy details, but I'm going to stick to the overview because I just like love getting into the value. So the structure is we're going to deep dive into some subconscious limiting beliefs that are showing up for you guys. I'm going to illuminate some gaps in that area for sure and give healing downloads to support you guys right now in your life, wherever you're at. And even if you're catching the replay, this also works on the replay. I love that energy works in this present moment of time. So whether you're watching me live or on the replay, it all works in this exact moment. So the second main gap that I see that holds people back is that they have visibility blocks, visibility and throat chakra blocks. They're like constricted in some way and they're not able to fully shine their light, have the impact that they're desiring. So then that also decreases their ability to have the income goals and hit the revenue goals that they have. The third main one is unhealthy money mindset. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't come from super millionaire families and a million like wise, healthy money mindset type of things. So we get to do that work to uncouple from the things that we learn to just absorb as sponges throughout our lives and choose to step into our abundant identities and our belief systems and live that in our life and co-create it for us and other people. So the next one after that is a lack of inspired action steps. So that can look like a bunch of different things where people are shitting all over themselves, like, should I do this or should I do that? They're comparing themselves to other people. There's a book that they read or some guru that said this is the one way to do it, but then it's not working for them. So that can hold people back. The next one after that is having unhealthy boundaries or outdated boundaries. So you could have up-leveled your boundaries in the past, but now you're growing and expanding into this level version of yourself and stepping into the next one. And you just have outdated boundaries that aren't necessarily supportive for you any longer. And your body's actually going to prevent you from growing outside of what you're actually capable of holding. Then the next one after that is having unharmonized masculine and feminine energies being on one extreme or the other. So a lot of people who come into my world tend to be like the overachievers and have the hyper masculine energy, and they're going and doing, and they don't have the feminine, or they haven't figured out exactly how to marry and couple and harmonize their masculine with their feminine so that they can have the structure and the divine inspired action and the flow and the wild and free and all the things that they desire. And then the final one is not doing the conscious 3D work. So it's kind of the energy of people who are like, well, I put it on my vision board and like, I want to be an like armchair or like a couch potato manifester and not actually like show up and do Facebook lives or figure out the template of this is how I'm going to like structure my business. These are the dollar amounts I need to be selling my packages and programs at or my products at in order to hit these kind of goals, in order to really call in these ideal clients, in order to create this vision that they have in their hearts into their reality. So we're going to go into those tonight, and I'm also going to be doing healing downloads throughout. So I'm a theta healer, which means that we can go into your theta brainwave, literal place where your subconscious belief systems live, and release them. We can get to the root of them so we can just clear, release, and let go the stuff that's been holding you back so you can be fully in alignment with your truth, which is so fun. I've been doing theta healing for several years. I've been like receiving it privately for like since 2015. Like, it has been the most powerful tool that I've ever experienced because it just changes my life. Like, I've had several experiences over the past 5 years where I'm like, okay, this is my dream life. And I've like hit all the things in it. And like, I have the relationship and the business and all these things. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. And then I create a new life vision statement and be do have list. And then I'm like, holy shit, I get to live this now. So it's what I absolutely love working with the most with my clients, that we can just clear out the old stuff, the old blueprints that weren't like supporting you, the old frameworks that you got from your parents or from people who aren't having successful businesses, clearing out all those things that aren't serving and supporting you so that you can truly lean into your truth, what your heart's desires are, and get to live that in your life and co-create it with God, creator, source, energy, universe. So for the healing downloads, I'm just going to say statements and say, would you like that? So it's super easy to receive. All you have to do is say yes to receive it. And it gets to be that simple. It gets to be that easy. And that's something that I'm definitely here for, that I'm like a stand for, especially in the coaching world, that we get to have our lessons learned with ease, speed, grace, joy, and love. We get to have an easeful, fun, pleasurable business. We get to have this and then show other people and be this light and be this like way shower for other people, which is super fun. I'm also a Reiki Master practitioner, so we're also going to do like a little bit of body work today of like clearing out old energy. So it's probably going to be throat chakra stuff. That's what a lot of people come to me for. I've done so many deep levels of throat chakra stuff. It's been very interesting to like play with that energy and support people in that. So we're also going to do some clearing in that area or any other block going on in your body. Most people tend to like want to go with their throat first because that's kind of like holding them back from speaking their dreams into reality, or they're nervous about like speaking their new prices, or they're just constricted in some way and they're like, oh yeah, like life feels a lot better when you release those old energies. So I'm super excited. Let's get started into muscle testing so you know how to muscle test. I love to empower people with that gift of like knowing how to muscle test to tune into what's in your subconscious belief system. Because sometimes half of the battle is knowing clearly what the problem is, instead of just like randomly like hitting like at fairs where you're like, oh, the gopher pops up and you're like randomly hitting it because you don't know where it is. It's like, instead of just randomly trying to be like, I don't know where my problem is, but I'm trying to like do all these things and fix it, we're going to make sure that you're actually focusing your energy and attention on the exact thing coming up for you, and not just clearing it because you thought someone else had an issue with it, or you weren't really sure what your problem is and you don't really have anyone who's diagnosing it for you. So you're kind of just like chicken with your head cut off, not being able to like clear the stuff that's really the big block that's holding you back from moving forward. So the easy way to muscle test, there's a bunch of different ways. The easy way I'm going to show you is with your fingers. So you can put your thumb and finger together. And the way that it works is that our subconscious mind is connected to our muscles. So that when we're lying to ourselves, when we say a belief that's actually no, it's going to break. So when it stays yes, when our muscles stay strong, that means it's a yes. And when it breaks, that's a no. And we're going to use our other fingers, kind of like pliers, to just like pull. And we're using the same amount of strength every single time. And you just putting your thumb and finger together, it's as if you have like a $5 bill that you don't want to blow away in the breeze. You're not like holding it forever and it's like gonna like cut off your blood supply. We're not doing it like that. It's just holding it as that okay symbol. So I'm gonna do it over here just so you guys can like see me with like the little pliers. And the way that you can test what your yes is, you can say your name. So if I say out loud, my name is Laura, and I pull, that stayed strong. So that was my yes. So everyone can try that so they get their strong yes in their bodies. Just saying whatever your name is. My name is Laura, and pulling. And then that's your yes. And then if I say something that's not true, so if I say my name is Jack, and I pull my name is Jack, and it breaks. So everyone can try that as well. Whatever your name isn't, try that and see that it breaks for you. Okay, and I want to make sure that you guys have strong yeses and strong nos right now, because we're going to do some muscle testing in this workshop just to make sure that you guys do see clearly where some of your gaps are, so we can like ensure that you're moving in those exact directions, whether you choose to work with me in the future, or if you're like, I just want to like work on these deeply. I want you guys to see the places where there's gaps for you right now, so you can focus on those areas and get them cleared so you can be helping the world in the way that your soul is here to serve and support people with. So the first thing that I'm going to get you guys to muscle test, I like literally went through a ton of things right before this call. I'm like, what is going to support people right now? So I wrote down a lot of things. I'm going to be referring down to my notes because I want to make sure that you guys are muscle testing the things that came through. So you can say to yourself out loud with your fingers, or if you like to do the standing muscle testing, or if you do it with a pendant, or however you prefer to muscle test in your body, you can choose to do your way, but the people who just learned this way get to do it this way. So you can hold your fingers and muscle test. I'm able to receive $5K from a client, so $5,000. And if you're already like, oh yeah, I have those packages, I'm able to receive $10,000 from a client. I'm able to receive $20,000 from a client, wherever you're at. Just muscle testing to find out where that space is for you right now. So you're like, oh, okay, I have prices like this, but no one's buying my VIP program because I have a subconscious block that's saying that I can't. So that's good to be aware of. The next one I'll get you to muscle test is I'm worthy and deserving of a 5K month or a 10K month or a 50K month, whatever month you're at right now, just muscle testing those numbers. And then you can muscle test. I have a money ceiling of fill in the blank. So whatever is like the number that you've been going for, if you're like going for 6 figures right now, or if you want an 80K year, or whatever your number is. So I have a money ceiling of fill in the blank. Because people tend to make around the same amount of money and have that like invisible ceiling, especially women. We have all kinds of stories about glass ceilings, ancestral stuff around all kinds of things that we can get deeper into in courses and programs. But just the awareness of, oh, okay, I have a money ceiling that's been holding me back. I need to like focus on clearing that and releasing that out of my world. So whatever your number is, if you're like muscle testing different numbers right now, I have a money ceiling of $95,000 or $110,000. Whatever you want your money ceiling, just like check into it and be like, oh, okay, that's the thing that's holding me back. If you're like, I have a money ceiling at $1 million and I'm good up until $1 million, then cool. Then that's not an area to be working on right now. And it can also be really supportive to like be hydrated when you're muscle testing, when we're clearing. So I'm going to move into some clearings now. So definitely have water, take lots of drinks as you need it. So would you like to clear, release, and let go of your old subconscious belief systems around what you're worthy and deserving of receiving or charging for your products, your services, your gifts in the world? And if you'd like to release that, you can say yes. And you want to know who you are and what your life looks like and feels like, earning what you feel called to, what you know that you're needing to survive plus more, and that you can be identified with the version of yourself who always has more than enough, that gets to thrive in this world and feel financially secure. And if you would like that, you can say yes. And you want to clear, release, and let go of any and all old habits or tendencies of overgiving, any people pleaser aspects where you'd like give your time for free or undercharge or undervalue your services, where you're not able to really serve and support yourself from an overflow into the world. That you can clearly let go of any and all fears of what that'll look like and feel like for letting go of that version of yourself, and give yourself permission to step into that next level version of yourself who does get to serve from your overflow and feel very financially safe and comfortable and receive financial freedom for the amazing work you do in the world. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And the like conscious piece with that is that we get to serve from our overflow. Like that gets to be the new paradigm that we live in and that we share from, because we've had old paradigms of like broke healers and having to like self-sacrifice or martyrdom or savior complexes and all these things. And we can go way deep into all kinds of healings for those things, because it is stuff that holds people back. It's things that aren't serving and supporting our highest and best good. So it's important to focus on those things and to be like, okay, where is this not serving me? Where has this just been an ancestral thing, a thing that I've seen my healers do, a thing that just like people have done throughout the ages? Like when we had the serving and supporting of our business, and we're supported like, okay, in olden days, there'd be like a church and the priest would be supported by the community and they'd have their housing and their food and everything would be good. Or when we had like temples and there were like temple keepers that would support the wise people who would like share their gifts, and like the medicine people, like they'd get supported by their community. So unfortunately, there can still be like past life stuff around that, or just like old vows, old obligations, old cords, old attachments to, I need to be a poor, broke healer. And I don't get to like serve and support the people unless I'm poor and broke. And that's the only way I can help other people. And those are important to release and let go of so that you can be really well taken care of. Because if you think of it, if you're drowning in water and there's other people drowning in water around you, you can't really help them. Like, you need to be on your solid boat, dry and safe and feeling good, in order to help other people onto the boat into a safe, good place. So it's important to make sure that you put yourself first, especially in like what you're charging. So you're not like, oh my God, I don't know like where my money's coming from. Or like, oh my gosh, I have so many more expenses as I'm growing my business. And I'm just in this like feast or famine mode, or I'm in this space where like there's so many different like ideas and downloads coming through. So there's so many different things where it's like, and like the most loving way I can say it is like, like there's so many different things. Okay. I'm like, what's the best human wording for how I want to say this? Okay, the next thing that's kind of coming through, and I'm kind of like going around it, is like people who are like, well, Jesus was poor, and it's like he like was with the people and all the different stuff, and it's like, yeah, and he was still supported. Like, he wasn't just like, oh, I'm healing people for free and I'm like destitute and starving. Like, he was always supported. He was able to like be in that energy of abundance and feeling good and safe and all those things. So there's even these like stories that get passed down which perceive people to be doing it alone, or to be even like better if they're like a martyr who's like giving the shirt off their own back. Like, there's so many different things that especially light workers will have as identities or belief systems in their world that are holding them back. And we need to release those identities. We need to decouple from that old way of being so that you are served and supported. Because right now what we're seeing in the world is that the people with the power have money, and having a ton of broke light workers who aren't able to give to charities and green initiatives and places that need food right now, like having a ton of broke light workers isn't helping anyone. However, on this like 3D human plane, right now, the way that you create change, the way that it's kind of set up is more money, more power, more leadership, more influence in the world. And I've been so grateful that the more money I get to receive, the more money I get to give to charities. And like that lights my heart up when I get to like give from my overflow and be like, I'm good, I'm super well taken care of, and I get to support these other things that my soul is here to serve and support. Because when you're only making $2,000 a month, if you're giving around 10%, that's not a ton of impact. It's amazing and awesome, and we get to choose how much we give, and that's awesome. And if you're giving 10% when you're making $10,000, how much more good is that? If you're giving 10% when you're making $50,000 a month, like, what does that feel like in your body to be like, oh yeah, I could totally give $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 to charities that I believe in and that I know I can make huge like areas of support in, and get them able to like get to their next goals. It feels so much better to be like, oh yeah, I'm really well taken care of and I can support other people from my overflow. So the way that I've done that in my business is by doing higher paid private clients, having higher paid groups, and then having different levels of groups, and then products. So that was a big thing. I continue to like come up against different layers of like my savior complex. And that's another thing that we know as people who do a ton of personal development work. Like, we'll have different layers of our same like core wounding coming up. And we're like, oh, this is coming up from a different level or a different place. Where I'm like, okay, I'm on level like 4,000 of like savior complex self-sacrifice stuff, because it's like, oh, okay, things will come up in new levels, and we get to be like, oh, so here's a new boundary for that, here's a new standard for that, here's new things that will support me now that I'm at this level with these experiences going on around me. So for me, especially when I was like first going through this of like letting go of like, oh, I want to help everyone all the time, I really had to like come to terms that I can't help everyone all the time if I'm not resourced in the ways that will feed all these different areas. So I was like, okay, cool. For everyone who wants free and wants to be on like the free step in this world, they get to watch free content. They get to come to my workshops and webinars and all the different things that I'm doing in this world for free. They get to say yes to healing downloads. They get to have all these things in their world. Then the next layer is digital products. I'm like, okay, cool. So the people who aren't able to afford all these areas yet, they can just have digital products at all these different layers. So I have a bunch of different options that are like, I'm like trying to think of all the different dollar amounts. I'm like, I have 30 and 40 and 50 and 97 and 597 and 997. And like, I have a bunch of digital options and stuff now where it's like you get to over time build these into your business and then offer them as bonuses if you want to for your people as well. So that there's even more benefit of like signing up with you as group or private. So the next tier steps after that can be like courses. So at the end of this, I'm going to make an offering for a course. And then after that, you can do group where you're getting like more live interaction with people. And then after that, you can do your private and you can do VIP private. And there's like all these different areas. So people can choose to come into your world in whatever way they feel called to you, in whatever way that you feel good in giving to them. Because if you're like poor and broke and not having enough, that's really hard to be like, oh yeah, I could give like 100 book copies to people. If you're like, I don't have enough money to print a book. Excuse me. I have a tickle in my throat now. And it's weird in COVID times to be like, I don't have COVID. I was not coughing before this. Okay. So I'll end my rant around what was coming up around subconscious limiting beliefs and move into the visibility and throat chakra blocks. And since there was that tickle coming up, sometimes I'm also a reflector in human design. So different things that come up in people, especially when they're like hearing things or becoming like having like little breakthroughs or becoming aware of things, having their aha moments, sometimes things will shift. So anyone who has throat chakra stuff going on in their life right now, anyone who's like not speaking your most like powerful truths into the world, if you feel like you're like dulling your shine, anything like that, we're going to move into some throat chakra clearings. And if you're like, I'm pretty good, my throat's pretty good, but I have other stuff going on my body, or you're like, oh, I'm not sure what's going to go on, I'm going to also direct you in that. So I'll just get you guys to shut your eyes and take some deep cleansing breaths. And just scan your body from the top of your head, moving downward. And becoming aware of any and all old energies that no longer serve you. Any energies that are painful or have some kind of dis-ease, just becoming aware of them. Breathing into it and then noticing the next one after that. And then I'll get you to tune into the most prominent or the most painful energy. The old energy that no longer serves you. That it's time to get rid of, that you're ready to release and let go of. Just noticing where exactly that is in your body and how much space it's currently taking up. And just noticing what color that old energy is. Noticing any emotions that are coming up with that old energy. And if you touched that old energy, what kind of temperature would it have? And when you know its temperature, just tuning into the texture. If you touched this old energy that's no longer serving you, what would it feel like to touch it? And now that you're clear on that old energy, what it looks like, what it feels like, we're going to safely move it outside of your body through your higher power. And fill up that space where it used to live with unconditional love and healing energy. And if you would like that, you can say yes. Now that it's safely outside of your body, without any attachment to you, we're going to ask it a question and just allow the first thought, first feeling to come through. What were you trying to teach me? And just allowing that to come through. And you want to know what it looks like and feels like through your higher power to learn this lesson, to have your higher power's truth, wisdom, clarity, and understanding around exactly what you were trying to learn. That you can mark those old lessons as complete, and that you can clear, release, and let go of any and all old attachments to learning your lessons through hardship, pain, suffering, or strife, or struggle. And if you'd like to clear those, you can say yes. Do you want to know who you are and what your life looks like, fully embodying this lesson? That you know that you're worthy and deserving of your heart's desires with this new level of embodiment. That you know what your life looks like and feels like with this, what your relationships look like with your clients, with your friends, with your family, with yourself, with how you run your business. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to know that it's time, safe, and that you're able to move forward into the life of your dreams. That you know on all levels that you can accomplish what your heart desires, that you can live this life of your dreams, and that you can have a deeper level of knowing and trust in yourself, that it will all happen, it will all come to pass. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. Then we can get your higher power to transmute that old energy into unconditional love, sending that into the ether and filling you up with unconditional love and healing energy. If you'd like that, you can say yes. And taking some deep cleansing breaths, supporting that and integrating. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And if you want to pop in the chat or put in the Facebook comments or YouTube video, wherever you're watching this, what's that feel like in your body now? That space in your throat, in your body, what's that space feel like now? And you can definitely drink lots and lots of water to support that and clearing out. If you want to like make any noises or like shake your body, supporting it and like integrating and grounding more, whatever's feeling good for you. Okay, so then some things to muscle test, because people do have comfort zones of what they feel good about in speaking into the world, what they feel good about in number of clients that they currently have, number of people in their audience, number of people who like watch your live videos. So you can just tune in to whatever you want as the number for like the people that you feel safe speaking to. So if you want your like Facebook lives to go to 100 people or 1,000 people or 20,000 people, whatever that number is. And then muscle testing. So again, you can use your finger or your preferred way of muscle testing and saying out loud, I feel safe speaking to that number of people. So blank number of people. So if it's like, I feel safe speaking to 1,000 people, I feel safe speaking to 5,000 people. Just becoming aware of where that is at for you right now. Because sometimes people don't feel safe in doing that and feeling safe in being seen by more people. And then the other thing is sometimes people don't want to have like the burden or the heaviness of having to support so many people. So private clients or people who look at their products or who work with them at different levels. So the next one I'm going to get you to do is tune into like your audience. So like your big audience, not people who like directly buy from you, just like anyone who can see you in the world on Instagram, on social media, wherever. So just muscle testing. I am open to supporting fill in the blank people in my audience. So I'm open to supporting 1,000 people in my audience. I'm open to supporting 10,000 people in my audience. And then when you're like, oh, like this is my edge, this is the number where I'm like getting a no at, then you can have that new awareness in your world. But this is the exact gap. They're like, oh, I'm at 1,000 and I want to be at 5,000. Okay, there's a gap here. Then the next one after that, you can muscle test. I'm open to supporting 10 people privately. I'm open to supporting 20 people in a group. Just becoming aware of like where that is for you. Because if you want to have a group of 50 people and you're only open to supporting 5 people, then that's the gap that you're at right now. And then the next one, because people kind of like get in their heads about like, well, where are my blocks? Where are they all living and all the different things? So you can also test to see like where you're at for a specific thing. So if you're like, I have throat chakra blocks that are holding me back from increasing my income, or I have root chakra blocks that are holding me back from increasing my impact, or I have like, I don't know, like heart chakra blocks. That can be another thing that are holding me back from creating impact in the world. So then you can be like, oh, okay, like these are the things that are coming up for me. And this is all just like gentle awareness. This isn't like, oh, I'm stuck with this for the rest of my life. It's like, okay, at some point in time, whether I was like a child and I was just a sponge, or what I've heard from some of my coaches or the industry, or what I've just had in my world, I have a limiting belief here somewhere. Okay, this is the limiting belief. I'm here. This is the gap. I'm here and I want to be here. That gives you support to be like, okay, I'm going to focus on this now. Instead of just like running around being like, my messaging sucks. And maybe your messaging is awesome. And you're not open and willing and feeling worthy and deserving of all the clients in your world yet. Okay, so the next piece after that, the next block is unhealthy money mindset. And this can come up definitely in the amount of money that you're making and the amount of money that you're having as profit. I know some people will continue to like increase their expenses as they make more money. So they're like, okay, I'm making more money now, but I'm still like increasing my expenses, but I'm not at the end of the day having much more money than I was a month ago or 5 years ago or whatever. It's like, this is still like a pattern that shows up for me. So people can have resistance to increasing their rates, to charging more for products, to offer more things that would allow them to have more consistent monthly revenue into their world so that they can have the ideal years that they want. So one thing that you can do to muscle test that is just tuning into your packages right now. So it's like if you have a $2,000 package, you can muscle test, I am worthy of selling a $2,000 package. And if you're already at 5,000, be like 6,000. Muscle test 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. Muscle test those. Another big one that can come up from people, like worthiness is a big thing. That's why I just did the worthy one. But another thing is like loyalty to family, our family ties, what has been typical for our background. So especially when people come from hard times where their belief system was money doesn't grow on trees, there's not enough, or there's just enough. There can be all kinds of things where if you started to live out a different experience in your world, your subconscious is afraid that you're going to be rejected or abandoned or not loved by your family anymore. So things that you can muscle test around this, so we can kind of go in the lens of family first. When I make more money, or if you have a specific amount of money in mind, like when I make 6 figures, my family will reject me. And I'm just going to like give some options here because different things can come up for different people. So when I make more money, my family will judge me. When I make more money, my family will abandon me. Or it could be a specific person in your family. If it's like my dad will reject me. When I make more money, my family will not love me. When I make more money, my family won't understand me. When I make more money, my family will think I'm crazy. Whatever your fill in the blank things are for that. Another thing that people can have is, especially like once you get into the light worker world, being like, okay, cool. So I have some like broke hippie friends and we're all being broke hippie friends and we're all just like barely getting by and having that same experience. And we all kind of like have the same amount of money because we tend to be like the average of the 5 people that we spend the most amount of time with. So there can also be all kinds of things coming up where it's like, okay, if I start making more money, then my friends won't know how to like talk to me anymore, or my friends will reject me. So you can also do those same muscle tests to be like, oh, do I have stuff to do around friends right now? Am I like good with my family, but my friends actually is something that I'm scared of, that like when I make more money, my friends won't love me anymore, or they'll think that I'm like greedy or bad, or like they'll have all kinds of negative belief systems around me. So you could do the same thing when you're like, when I make more money, my friends will reject me. When I make more money, my friends will judge me. When I make more money, my friends will abandon me. When I make more money, my friends won't hang out with me. And fill in those blanks. It can also be the fear that when I make more money, my friends will be triggered by my success. Because as much as humans think that we have evolved from caveman times in our DNA, in ourselves, as 3 humans right now, we have not evolved that much more than caveman times. And our subconscious is here to keep us safe and alive, not happy, not financially free, not living the life of your dreams, not traveling everywhere that you want to, not having everything that your heart desires. Your subconscious doesn't care about that. Your subconscious only cares that you are alive. So yay, good job for our subconsciouses. We can like be super happy that our subconsciouses have kept us alive. Yay, good job, subconscious. The thing that's important to realize is that back when humans would be around 100 to 100 people, we needed each other. There wasn't a Sobeys on the corner that you could just like go buy food at, or a Whole Foods if you're in the US right now. Like there wasn't a place that you can just like go get food. You had to be a part of a tribe, this community of a couple hundred people, that some people were getting food, some people were making shelter, some people were planning for the winter. There were people who were watching at night and making sure that we weren't going to get like eaten by animals. There was this huge tight-knit community that was necessary to keep everyone in it safe and alive. That was it. We wanted to keep them alive. So if you got banished from your community, that essentially meant death. So we still have these old deep-seated belief systems in our subconscious that are holding us back from making the impact in the world that we're here to, because we don't want to be separate. We don't want to get kicked out from our family. We don't want to get kicked out from our friends group. We don't want to be seen as crazy or bad. So it's important to just like love that and be like, okay, cool. Good job for keeping me alive. Instead of me being like super angry that all these old systems are here, like, yay, I am alive. You're doing your job. And I get to choose consciously different belief systems. I get to release the old to have space for the new. So if you like to release and let go of these old belief systems around you're going to be rejected or harmed or hurt or die or not be loved and not be accepted if you make more money, if you would like to release all of those, you can say yes. And you want to know who you are and what your life looks like when you are worthy and deserving of increasing your rates, of having different priced offerings in your business, and that you can feel good about serving from your overflow. And if you would like that, you can say yes. And you want to know that it's completely safe on all levels for you to raise your rates, that it's time for you to raise your rates, and that you can raise your rates, that you know what it looks like and feels like, and that you can trust that your ideal clients, your soulmate clients who are here to work with only you, who have soul contracts to work with you, will be called in and supported by you at these new levels. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. Okay, so I got really excited and I jumped ahead of myself for one of my muscle tests. So right now you can muscle test. It's safe for me to raise my rates. Just see what that looks like now. Especially if you've been like wanting to raise your rates and you're like, oh yay, now I feel safe to raise my rates. It's like downloads can be that easy. Super fun. The next thing I'm gonna get you guys to do is just shut your eyes, take a deep breath. And if money was a person who was standing in front of you, what's this person look like? And what's your relationship like to this person who's standing in front of you? Just being aware of it. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And just think of money as a person, that you get to have a relationship with money. And with that new awareness of how you are currently, this day, at this time, seeing money, it's like, okay, did you see money as dirty or bad or broken or like in disheveled clothes or like twirling their evil mustache or like a sleazy car salesman? Or did you see them as like a best friend or a savior or like an ex-boyfriend who would like come and go and like sometimes hurt you, but sometimes be there for you? There can be so many different pictures that we get for money. And if it's anything less than like, oh my God, I love this person, that's super awesome, and I totally want to be like their best friend, lover, yes, then it's like, okay, then there's work there to do with our relationship with money, how we view and perceive money, what kind of limiting beliefs we have all the time just running with money. Because ideally, we want to be always supported and cheerleaded on and feel like it's this like amazing lover and partner in our world who just like feeds us and is always there for us and supports us and helps us grow and expand and help more people and create more of our dreams into reality. So we get to do that work at deeper levels to ensure that money gets to be our best friend and then a lover and then a partner, an amazing experience. Okay. So I'm kind of going like really deep into these beginning ones, so I'll have to like zoom out a little bit for the next ones. So the gap number 4 that I typically see in people is lack of inspired action. Like people will sit and be like, I don't know what I should do. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? Because they see so many different paths on the internet right now. And there are so many different paths that can lead you to the end goal that you want. If you're like, I want to have a 10K month, awesome. There's so many different ways that you can do that, which is awesome and amazing. But sometimes that like analysis paralysis will like keep people in their heads, and then they're not doing inspired action steps of, instead of being like, well, what should I do? Like, this guru is saying this, there's this cookie cutter mold over here being like ABC, do ABC and you'll get this thing. Especially if you've been doing ABC for months or years or like a decade even, and you're like, fuck, ABC is not working for me. I'm broken, I'm bad, there's something wrong with me. And it's like, maybe you just weren't in alignment with their one person ABC method. Just because it worked for the person who wrote a book, or there are thousands of people that they're working with that it works for them, doesn't necessarily mean it'll work for you. You are a unique human. You need unique food. Your body is unique. So just like for food, we have different types of diet, different type, like blood type diets, all these different things. Just like that, our humans in business also have unique things. So maybe out of all the different things that you can do, maybe doing PQO in business is going to be your magic formula. And you're not ever going to get there if you're just like blinders on doing ABC because someone else told you to. Because a business coach or a sales and marketing person one time said, ABC is the way, but it didn't feel good for you. You're doing it even though you had like resistance to it. All kinds of stuff can come up. So it's like moving in your inspired action is so important. So I love cultivating that deeper level of like trust and knowing in my clients so they can really tune in to their inspired action steps, where they can be clearly hearing their guidance and not be like, is this a fearful thought and the fear is telling me to do this, or the scarcity is telling me to do this because I have bills coming in and I have to do this? Or is this inspired action? Like doing deeper work on that. So if you've been in this like comparison mode where you're like, ABC is working for someone else, but it's not working for me, or I've been at my business for X amount of years and it's not working compared to these people who are like younger than me or doing it less, or fill in the blank, whatever their story is. You get to like choose, okay, today's a new day. I am a unique human being with a soul who has soul contracts with other souls on this planet to do amazing work with. My work is transformational. My work heals people and helps people and literally is priceless. Like the work that we do with people as coaches and healers, it literally changes people for the rest of their lives. So you get to tune into that unique way that your soul is here in a human body that supports your ideal clients, the people that you have soul contracts with, the people that you desire to be working with, who it feels good and it lights you up. And it lights up your soul and you feel like rejuvenated and fulfilled after your calls because you're like, oh my God, it feels so good. So you get to choose that unique path and those unique programs and the unique titles of your stuff that feels good for you. That isn't just like the cookie cutter mold of what you should do in order to hit whatever goal you have right now. So like deepening that trust can be an important gap to fill, that you can really like tune into yourself, hear that guidance, trust it, and move in that inspired action from that place. And also being like, baby steps are awesome. And trusting that the one baby step that you get is going to lead to the next one and the next one after that. And sometimes there's like leaps where you're like taking leaps of faith where you're like, I'm doing this thing because it's what my soul is telling me to do and it's super strong, but it's terrifying. My human is not okay with it, but I'm doing it because I'm called to. And over time, you'll be able to strengthen that resiliency within yourself where you're like, yeah, this is that knowing that I've cultivated in myself, and it will lead to the end goal that I desire. And what can unfortunately like hold people back is that they'll get stuck in their head and they want to know the how. They want to know the whole plan. They want to know the how. And it's like, your inspired action just shared, go live and talk about this thing. And you're like, what if I go live and then my promotion and my product, my offering and the sales page and the landing page and the sequence and the automations and my blah, 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 blah. All the things. And instead of going into like a huge tailspin and not actually just going live because your inspired action said that, people will just like kind of shut down their energy and be like, well, I'm not doing that thing because I don't have all the steps. Even though that wouldn't be supportive. Like one example that I love giving to people that makes it like way more solid is If you were literally going to go on a cross-country journey, so I'm on the East Coast right now, and if I was going to go from New Brunswick, where I'm at, out to BC, and I wanted to make that trip, and if I wanted to like play in the world where I want to know all the steps ahead of time, and the universe was like, okay, for the next hour, we're going to tell you how to get from where you're at to where you want to be. Going to give you every single direction, every single turn, the like amount of like time into the next turn after that, like all these details, all this little stuff that you want to know, how fast you should be driving your car, all the things. We're going to give you all the information that you want in this next hour. But then you aren't going to get any of the signs along the way because you just want it all now. You don't want the signs as you're getting there. You're like, there's no road signs, no maps, no GPS, but you're just going to get it all now. Like, that would not be good. If we were just like given all the information about like how we're going to run our business for the rest of our lives for the next 10 years, all downloaded at once, that'd be really terrifying because it's like, oh fuck, like I'm not ready to like be on a stage in front of 10,000 people. It's like, okay, well maybe that's 5 years from now, but are you going to be like really scared and you're human over here because you're like, oh, I'm not ready to do all these things. And it's like, right, you today going live on Facebook, making a call to action and getting on a sales call, like doing simple things now is going to keep building your capacity. Every single step that you take in inspired action will be building to the bigger things. And it's a very big blessing because if tomorrow you woke up and you had like 2 million people follow you and 1,500 people reach out for wanting a free call and all this stuff, you wouldn't be able to handle it. You today, with the structures that you have, highly unlikely that that would feel like a blessing. It would probably feel very overwhelming and a curse. However, as you grow and expand and know different things and your characteristics and your skill set and your experience and scale your business, then 5, 10, 15 years from now, having a ton of people come in at once, you have that structure and everything's there. And your human's not going to be scared about it because guess what? You're not there yet. So that's a very big blessing that the universe gives us, that we get one step at a time. So anytime that you're like, but I don't know how, or like, I'm getting this, but then I don't know what I'm going to do after that, allow yourself to just flow in that inspired action piece. So a lot of this also kind of like flows into trusting feminine energy. So the next piece is also people who have like this disharmony in their energy between masculine and feminine. So I support my clients in harmonizing that, especially because I tend to get a lot of like overachievers, like I was saying, that want to do all the things and go, go, go and do and produce, because that's what we were like told and rewarded for every single life that we've had. Like it's been very structured where in school, you work hard, you show up, you read all the things, you do the practice quizzes and the homework and all the things, and then you get your A. And in corporate, you show up, you put in all the hours, you work a ton of overtime, you do hard work, you go, 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 you produce, output, you get awesome money or good raise or good performance reviews, you're like, good girl. So that masculine energy structure has been very much ingrained into the world of just going, going, going. And there has not in typical society been love in any way, shape, or form around the feminine, being wild and free-flowing and free. Like that is not typically rewarded in the society that most of us grew up in. So it's important for us to do that work first and foremost, to like connect with our feminine, to deep dive into our feminine, to explore those areas, which I love supporting my clients in doing. And then also in coming back and harmonizing their masculine with their feminine and not getting stuck in a box where they're like, okay, well, I have to be 90% masculine, 10% feminine in my business all the time. You get to be like, okay, in this moment, when I'm launching something and when I'm creating things for people that's going to support the world, maybe in this moment, I'm 90% masculine, 10% feminine. And then the next hour, I'm like, ooh, I want creativity for a post that I'm going to create. And then maybe in that hour, you're 75% feminine, 25% masculine. Where you're like, I'm writing it out, it's coming through, but you're like allowing things to channel and flow. So that can be important in your business as much as your relationship, as much as any other thing in your life, where it's like you get to be you, uniquely you, and the energy that you feel called to be in that moment. And you don't have to like peg yourself in a specific hole. Because some people will be like, oh, I'm super free flowy spiritual energy. And then they feel nervous to add in masculine. And there can be all kinds of like things where masculine energy has harmed people, like our own masculine energy. Like I burnt out in corporate, like my masculine energy going in hyperdrive all the time harmed my body. Like legitimate things. I had to work with like naturopaths to help heal and support. Like adrenal fatigue is real. Burning out's real. Migraines are real. Headaches are real. There are things that unfortunately being in hypermasculine energy, especially being in female bodies, and I don't want to like put stereotypes on things, and this is kind of just like working with the energy. Some people like to use yin and yang energy instead of masculine and feminine, but especially for the types of women I support in this work, we have been harmed by masculine energy, especially our own. So it's like, oh, if I go for another launch, I'm not going to get as much sleep. I'm going to cut back on my self-care. It's going to hurt my like family relationships. I'm not going to have as much time to hang out with people. Like that, it eats away at your lifestyle. So it's like, oh, well, I don't want to add in more masculine energy because then you're afraid of it. So there can be deeper levels of healing and work to do there. So all kinds of gaps. So wherever you're at, you can kind of just tune in, like, have I been really hypermasculine energy? Have I been really feminine? And I'm kind of just like, I want it all to be manifested. I want to just visualize it and happen. And I want to just be free flowing. So just becoming aware of that to be like, okay, where's my current gap in that right now? So you can then choose to close it. Okay. So the next one after that is outdated boundaries. And like I was kind of saying at the beginning when I introduced it, is that we can be having all kinds of different experiences in our life where we're like, cool, I'm good with my boundaries here, and I did that, and I shared it with my friends, and these are the boundaries of my world. And then we keep doing more personal development work. I also have a ton of seekers in my world because I'm a huge seeker, and I'm always receiving support from several different coaches and mentors and healers, and I love investing myself, so I'm always in personal development. I'm always learning and growing and healing at deeper levels. So especially for us who do this work so much that we like love it and we just like eat it up, and we spend hours and hours and hours a week, sometimes a day, doing this work, we can quickly move into that next level version of ourselves where our boundaries are outdated, where our standards with people need to have an upgrade, especially if we want to go to the version after ourselves. If we're like, okay, cool, life's awesome here now. Now I want to go to this level. Now I want to have this level of income in a month, or I want to have this level of impact in the world. I'm ready to go here. But thankfully, our body that wants to keep us alive and safe, yay, subconscious, it literally will hold you back from doing that because it's like, no, there's currently a belief system that if you're making more money, then you're going to be even more tired. You're going to be even more stressed. You're going to be even more whatever fill in the blank bad thing is going on in your life. So what we need to do is to support ourselves in creating these new boundaries, new standards for our life to ensure that we're good in going to the next level. And we can still get rest, that we can prioritize rest and our self-care and time with family and time for self-pleasure and all the wonderful things even more into our life, that we get to choose that. So things that can come up around boundaries, especially with clients and like the frame of business, is giving too much in client calls, like having a 60-minute call that kind of like drags on for a lot longer. And then you feel drained at the end. Not like, oh, I felt so lit up and I felt called to giving to them, but it's like, ooh, I felt bad about charging more. So I kind of made my 60-minute calls 75 to 90-minute calls or 2-hour calls or like really long calls. It can happen with giving additional support. So a lot of people, when they create programs and packages, they have either like WhatsApp support or email support or Voxer support. And people will tend to, especially if they're like beginning with their boundaries, talk about those extra levels of support in between calls as unlimited. You'll get unlimited Voxer support with me. And then I'm in containers, especially with like multiple six-figure people who are like, oh my God, I'm in Voxer for 4 hours a day. I gave all these people and they paid really good money And I told them I was going to be their like coach in their back pocket and I would always be there for them. And then their people pleaser inside of themselves, who created this old boundary of unlimited Voxer support, is now burning out, giving all this extra free coaching all the time, and they don't feel good about it. And they're starting to resent their clients about it. So I've definitely learned at different iterations of my business. I'm like, when I started giving WhatsApp support, I had some boundaries around it. And then I started to have more clients and more groups and more launches and more things in my world. And then I was like, oh, I need like better boundaries around this. So then I created more boundaries, and I have like a whole document on like what my VIP WhatsApp support is. So now I'm like, okay, cool. These are the typical response times. Response times could also be 1 to 3 days. They can also be affected by travel, by bereavement. I had a death in the family, and I'm like, ooh, I need to like add bereavement to like this thing. So it's like, it's when I'm traveling, it's when I'm doing personal development, it's when these things are happening, I won't be as available as typical. So that people have expectations, and pre-framing these things and talking about these standards sets everyone up for wins. It can be so loving and nurturing and supportive to have a clear container where you're like, these are my standards. This is the sandbox that we're all playing in, and these are the boundaries. So that someone's not like messaging you and expecting an answer in 1 hour. It's like, if you told them unlimited Voxer support and you're available all the time and they're here for you, and like if you have an emergency, I'm there. It's like, is that real? Is that something that you do want to be on the hook for? Especially if you're like, I have a client for a year that I told them I have unlimited Voxer support. Sometimes that can like really be unhealthy for people. So getting clear on what those boundaries is for you, so you can have them implemented before you get to your next level, will be very supportive for your body, very supportive for your system. So there's all kinds of things that I love to get deeper and deeper into boundaries about. But some downloads are actually coming through for like the last kind of pieces that I was sharing. So do you want to clear, release, and let go of this need to fit in a box, to do what someone else has told you to do, to give yourself deeper permission to create your own boundaries, your own standards, and communicate that clearly with others, that you know what it looks like and feels like to follow your own unique inspired action steps, and that you can give yourself permission to explore your divine feminine, your divine masculine, and to have the unique harmony in the day-to-day moment that you're living in that is the most supportive for you, that's in your highest and best good, and that's in your optimal health. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And you want to know who you are and what your life looks like with easeful expression of your boundaries, that you can allow yourself to easily express them to people as they enter your world, and that you can stand in your leadership with them. And if you would like that, you can say yes. Okay, cool. So the final piece is not having really a space carved out in your day, week, month for the conscious 3D work. So this was me kind of like referring to people who are like armchair manifestors, who are just like, well, I'm looking at my vision board and like, that should be good, right? I like have this intention to be a millionaire. So is that good enough? No. We still have to move in those inspired action steps. So when you check into yourself, it's like, okay, you get to move in that inspired action place. So different things that are important, that feel like foundational for me, for people who want to especially like grow their business from where it's been to their next level, is getting super clear on your ideal client. This next level ideal client that you are like so excited to work with. What are all the little details about them? What do they look like? What do they feel like? What's your relationship with them look like? And like really writing that out and seeing it in front of you. So I have whole processes that I work with my clients, and like, I love it so much. Like I literally have superpowers where I'm like, certain words and certain energies and frequencies feel like they're like bright neon signs that like clearing that out, like letting that go, letting go of old stories, or like, I don't want the client who shows up late. Then it's like, okay, so don't put that on your list. Put clients who are on time, clients who pay on time, clients who love working with you, those kind of things instead of like the negatives. So I have a whole process where I'm like, I can just review my client's ideal client list. And it's like so fun because in the 3-month group that we have that's actually just closing now, 2 clients of mine just like had their biggest sales. Like they're having 5K package sales. And their clients are like their ideal clients that they completely manifested. That they're like, this is the exact person. Like these are the things that they have as their issues. These are their goals. these are like, they just didn't have any objections because they're like, they had money and they're ready, willing, and able to invest in it, which is another thing that I get my people to put in their ideal client list, because you want people who are excited to invest with you on your journey, on their journey. So having an ideal client list is really good. Getting really clear on like what your life vision is, like having a life vision statement that you read out loud, that'll like make you cry, that you can like listen to if you're just in like negative energy, or you're like, oh, like I've had some like heavy days, or if you're on your period or whatever's going on in your world, like help you shift out of that energy to be like, okay, well, I'm in this one right now and I want to shift my state. Let's go to these resources that you have created, that you're already ready to like snap at your fingertips, shift your like experience and your state of how your day's been going. Other things that are like kind of more the money work, and I get it if you're like nervous in the money work, a lot of people haven't been taught. Like it would be really great, instead of like learning Pythagorean theorem, to like learn how to budget and like learn how to do taxes and like learn how to work with money in school. That's not taught. So I'm also an ex-accountant. I went to university and had an honors in my Bachelor of Business Administration. So I have a lot of the like business knowledge. I also have parents who were entrepreneurs. So like from 7 onward, I was like working in the business in different capacities, learning how to run a business, learning how important cash flow is. Like cash is king. You need cash in order to keep working in your business, because then you have more than enough for your rent, for your trips, for your travels, all the wonderful things. So things that I've created kind of like over the past year, as I've been working extensively with more and more clients in increasing their impact and income, are plans where you can have templates where you're like, okay, I'm going to play with this. So my 1-year plan, how many clients do I need to create this 1-year annual income goal? What different levels of programs and packages will I have? And all these different things. And then from that template, breaking it down into the month. Okay, so if this month my goal is 8K, how many clients at what levels in my packages and programs and products or workshops or whatever you're offering do I need to create this level? And having buffers in it and being like, okay, cool. And having higher paid packages where you're like, okay, I would only need 5, 6, 7, 8 clients to hit these amazing income goals. And then being like, okay, so does this feel good that you could talk to 2 people a week and get them as clients? So it's like, okay, for sales calls, would you do 10 different sales calls to get your 2 clients that week? And like playing with those numbers. Then I also have templates that talk about the difference between sales and cash, because sometimes people will be like, I had a 5K cash month. Sorry, I had a 5K sales month, and then they had like $3,000 of expenses that were cash outflow, and then they're like, oh my God, this isn't working. Where it's like, okay, cool. Like you need to know how much is coming in, coming out through cash and sales. So it's like, okay, if you're going to have people who aren't paying you in full in cash, and it's going to be sales versus all the cash at once, what's that look like to plan it out? So I have all these different things kind of like mapped out in templates, along with monthly hours and like weekly hours. So it's like, how much time are you committed? Because I feel like that's another thing that like majorly gets overlooked, especially in the coaching world, that people will just like sign on a bunch of clients and not account for, okay, how many hours of private time have I now for like 3 months, for my 6-month program, for a year-long program? Like, let's track these hours so that you're able to make sure that you're able to comfortably work with your amazing ideal schedule. So if you're like, I want to have about 10 client hours a week, okay, let's feed that into your schedule and make sure that that all works. Okay, so I know that sometimes people can have like aversion to doing the conscious pieces and not want to look at their money, not want to look at their cash flow, especially if they've had negative experiences with money. So do you want to clear, release, and let go of those old experiences that you've had? And any and all fear and worry and avoidance and procrastination that's been coming up around doing these conscious 3D pieces in your business in order to create that like solid foundation structure that will allow you to thrive in your life and business. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. And do you want to clear, release, and let go of the old patterns and ways of being with money, especially that you've learned from your parents that aren't supportive for you? And that you can release and let go of any and all old judgment or criticism that has come up in your world, and give yourself permission to choose differently going forward, to implement healthy habits and behaviors, especially around your like bookkeeping, your accounting, your tracking of your time and your money, so that you can ensure that you're having a safe and supportive relationship with both your time and your money. And if you would like that, you can say yes. And you want to clear, release, and let go of the belief system that there's not enough time or there's never enough money, and that you can clear, release, and let go of any and all excuses where you've like blamed money or blamed time, that you can be empowered in both of those relationship dynamics, and that you can choose differently in moving forward in your life. And if you'd like that, you can say yes. Okay. So one thing that's kind of consciously coming through around especially money and time and the dynamics and the relationship you have with them, you can't have them be the bad guy, the enemy. Oh, I can't do that because I don't have the money. Oh, I can't do that because I don't have the time. You have to choose that you are the empowered being and that you get to choose a better relationship with them. And from now on, they're your best friend. Money's your best friend. Time's your best friend. Money's always on your side. Time's always on your side. And have a better relationship with them. So that means no more excuses where you're like, I don't have time to do the laundry. It's like, fucking own that you are choosing right now not to do the laundry. So the sentence is, I'm choosing to not prioritize the laundry today or right now, whatever you want to do, instead of blaming time as a limited finite resource. And instead of being like, oh, I can't afford to do that, you can choose to say, I'm choosing to prioritize this. I'm choosing to prioritize investing in myself. I'm choosing to prioritize investing in this trip. I'm choosing to prioritize investing in my business support team. I'm choosing to prioritize this. Because if you went to the grocery store with a $100 bill, you couldn't buy everything in the grocery store, but you could choose what you invest in. You could choose what you are using money to support you with. So that can be a big piece. Is to step into that empowerment. And then especially if you're like, well, I can't afford everything. Like I don't have $1 million that's just like in my bank account right now. You get to also choose, how can I create this money? How can I create value in the world, in someone else's life, in my client's life, that they will exchange value to me? And those questions, like when you ask better questions, you get better answers. So those can be awesome questions to ask yourself. Okay, so we can integrate all of those changes, and I can offer you a general healing for any and all other areas of your body, life, and business that are ready to be healed right now, and fill you up with your higher power's unconditional love, compassion, peace, and prosperity. And if you would like that, you can say yes. And take some deep cleansing breaths, really allowing that to integrate fully. Definitely drinking lots of water. We cleared so many things. So I'm going to share an invitation with anyone who is feeling called to going deeper into all these blocks. If you're like, wow, I noticed a lot of gaps. I'm able to like tune into all the different things that I muscle tested, and I was just aware from this experience of all the different blocks that are showing up in my world right now, and you're feeling called to clear them. I'm going to invite you to my next live 6-week group course. So I'm going to screen share. Actually, I might have to pop in the chat first. I think pop in the chat works first, and then screen share. And we'll also be putting this link for the sales page for the course into the body of the email that's going out for the replay, and also in the Facebook comments. So pop that in for anyone who wants to look as I go along, and then screen share. All right, so can you see that? Do you want to give me a thumbs up if you can now see a pink girl in the background with like stars? Can you see it? Awesome. Cool. So kind of go like that. Just run through it so that you're clear on all the different things that are being offered in this container. So it's going to be a 6-week group coaching and healing program with the intention of increasing your impact and income to the level that you desire to. So the first round that we did this, we had people who had the intention of just being more visible, who were hiding, who weren't feeling safe to like share that they even do this kind of work in the world or what exactly they do or like what woo-woo thing that they do, who went live for the first time, who shared their gifts consistently on Facebook, who put pictures of themselves up with selfies and were like, this is me, who I am. And it was super fun to see people just shining their light more. There were also people who had specific goals where they're like, I want to have a 2K month or a 5K month. And they got those months where it's like, awesome. I've had people who in this like original course who did their first $1,500 sale, who hit their first 2K month, first 3K month, first $1,000 client, first 5K month, like so many different goals were happening in this container. And then they got such epic results that 3-month group that I shared that was just ending, a lot of them chose to continue into the 3-month and just had like their first 5K sale where they're like, money gets to be easy. I get to show up and give my superpowers in my zone of brilliance, like the things that my soul is here to do in the world. I get to share those gifts with the exact clients who need it. Like there are people in the world right now who need your medicine, who need the unique gifts that only you have in the way that only you are going to express it to them. Like, yeah, like Grant Cardone does a lot of things in sales and I can't listen to Grant Cardone. I've tried. I've like really tried to like listen to audiobooks. I'm like, I can't. But through another mentor who's learned all kinds of different things and who is a lot more in the feminine energy, I can totally receive that. So there's always people who are going to want your unique messages. There's people who can't listen to Tony Robbins who are like, he's the one who started the coaching industry and they're like, ugh, like he just rubs me the wrong way. So even if there's other people doing what you're doing in the world, there are clients who don't want that teacher or that mentor or that guide. They're only going to take this and receive this through your messaging, through who you are like being in this world. And that's super, super special. So that's what's definitely calling me forward to share more and more of this with light workers, because the world's needing so many light workers. Like if we've seen what 2020 has been, there's been a lot of not great things. There has been positive things as well. I always like to see like silver linings and find positives, but we have seen on a massive level, the level of fear and scarcity and hate and division that's still here to work on. And we get to help other people heal and awaken and move through their stuff. So we can all be the change that we wish to see in the world, because that's like my favorite quote ever. Okay. So in this course, we're literally going to clear these gaps that have been holding you back, that you discovered that you have today. So during the 6 weeks, we're going to go deeper into all these areas, that subconscious limiting beliefs, which is the underlining piece of all of them. So we're going to go deep into visibility and throat chakra blocks. Into the unhealthy money mindset that you have in your life right now, upgrading that so that it is healthy and supportive, so that money looks and feels really good to you, that you get to have like a loving relationship with money, where like money is your lover and you want to like see it every day and you want to play with it, and it's so fun. Doing deeper work on trusting your own unique inspired action steps, on tuning into that within yourself, on getting clarity on, is this a fear voice? Is this a scarcity voice? Or is this truly what I'm feeling inspired to do right now? And going deeper into your divine feminine, going deeper into your divine masculine energy, and then harmonizing them so that you can have the life of your dreams. So we're clearing out the unharmonized pieces. We're letting go of these like old, outdated boundaries. We're going to keep doing this work so you have new standards, new boundaries, and new behaviors and habits that will support you and your business in moving forward. And then having all the support. So if you've been like, oh yeah, I haven't really been doing a lot of the conscious unity work, being given all the support system and the templates and the things that will support you in creating that really grounded, solid foundation for moving forward. So here's what you get during this container. So because I did this round earlier in the summer, you'll get immediate access when you join to the 7-week Increase Your Impact and Income course, which includes 6 modules plus bonus videos. So the reason why I'm like, it's a 7-ish week course is because it actually launched around the time that the big movement of Black Lives Matter happened. So I wanted to honor the people who had joined the container and continue to give them support because they had felt like a hell yes in jumping in. And then I was like, I kind of feel called to pause my launch for a little bit and give other people the mic and the stage and those kind of things. So it kind of sort of became like 7, 8, 8.5-ish week experience in a container all together. But there were 6 module videos. So in the different courses, you'll see the 6 main gaps that are up here. So because subconscious limiting beliefs is literally what's within all of these things, there's the 6 weeks that are clearly marked in the digital course that have all of this right there. So you get immediate access to that. So if you want to like binge the content now, you can totally binge it. And then we'll have our live calls that will discuss them even deeper. So it's even better than joining in the summer because they just got to show up to a call live with me. And we gave the lessons and then went deeper into their particular blocks and the stuff that was holding them back. So for this one, you can watch the pre-recorded video before our call. So you get the teachings, you get a bunch of like the heavy stuff at the top layer cleared off. So you have new stuff that'll come up where you're like, okay, cool. Now that I'm on the call live with Laura, I want to get these things healed. These are the limiting beliefs coming up. This is stuff that I want to clear. Plus bonus videos. I actually did a fair amount of like live videos in a group at the time. We did some extra hot seat calls of just like stuff that was holding people back. So there's even more downloads, even more lessons. There's just so much content in this digital course. So you get all of that immediately. And then we're going to starting, I'm like trying to think of dates, starting December 28th, we'll have weekly 90-minute group calls where we're going to deeply dive into all these subconscious limiting beliefs that are holding you back so you can heal and release and let go of the old, make space for the new, step into your abundant identity, and hit the goal that you want. So if you're like, I want to have a 2K private client, awesome. If you want to have a 5K private client, awesome. Like whatever your goal is right now, we'll set that intention at the beginning and we'll work on those belief systems that have been holding you back the entire container. And then also in between our calls, you have a Facebook community. And the Facebook community is honestly one of my favorite things because people are like, this is my soul family. Like I get to like have all the support that I need here and accountability, and people are celebrating my wins with me. And especially being like solopreneurs who are at home behind a computer screen all the time. It's so lovely to have this like soul family with you on this journey who's like cheering you on and supporting you along the way. So in the private group, you're going to get support with me along with a support coach so that you can get everything that you need. If you have challenges that are coming up, I can also go live. I do like quick downloads that'll support you guys, clearings that'll support you guys, give you feedback on homework, on your life vision statement, on your be, do, have list, on what your ideal client is, getting all kinds of feedback on you doing your homework so you can really truly build momentum through every container call. So I'll kind of like go over the high level of what you can expect now. So you can kind of look at this later if you want to, but literally how I shared it, we're going to go into these different blocks. So module 1, visibility and throat chakra. Module 2, going deeper into that unhealthy money mindset and shifting it into a healthy one. Module 3, moving from lack of inspired action to truly moving in your inspired action step. Another kind of quote that I love around this is that those who know can afford to wait. So it's like really knowing in yourself, like I'm here to do these amazing things and not be so like impatient about things or so in like chaotic or scattered energy around like wanting it so bad that you're actually like energetically repelling it. Like if you think of the dating world, if you are a 35-year-old desperate woman who just wants any sperm to make a baby and just like wants to have a baby and wants to have a family so bad, what do you think the men on the dating site are going to be experiencing with that? Are they going to be like, yes, this is amazing, she feels so good? Or are you going to be like, nope, don't want needy, desperate energy. So it's important to be moving in your own inspired action step and not from like scarcity or neediness or desperation or fear or any of those other places that aren't good come from places. Module 4, going deeper into what could be like unharmonized in your masculine and feminine energy right now to move you into that healthy support where you are like, oh yeah, I get to flow. I get to be harmonized in these energies and they get to support me in my life. Module 5, we move from those outdated boundaries into the new standards and boundaries that will support your life now and at the next level, so you can feel safe and growing and expanding into that place. And I also love theta healing because it's like people tend to be scared to move outside their comfort zones. And in theta healing, we get to like expand your comfort zone as you grow into it, and then expand your comfort zone as you grow into it. So you're not like, oh my God, I'm leaving my comfort zone. It's so scary and horrible. It gets to be a lot more easeful and a joyful and a smooth process by doing that. Deeper work as you go. Then module 6, the final module, is shifting you from like not doing that conscious 3D work. And this is also kind of like peppered in throughout. And you can choose to like, you'll have access to all the content at once. So if you're like, I want to do a ton of the 3D work right now, you can totally do that. But you'll be given all the different like belief system works as well in this module to like support you and truly moving in those foundational pieces that are the like action steps that will support your business and thriving. So you'll get all kinds of templates and things that will support you in truly growing your business from an amazing space. Other things that I'd love to share are the bonuses that come with this. So I offered this the first time around and people loved it. So right off the bat, you can do the Manifesting 101 workshop. So in this 3-hour digital workshop, you get to have the space to like clear out the old and create your own unique dream life list, your own be, do, have list, and then to also create a life vision statement that really supports you with being in alignment with the universe, being super clear on what you're manifesting, on what you're desiring, what you're co-creating. So we'll clear the stuff that's holding you back and put you into this amazing space so that you can raise your frequency and receive and co-create with the universe to get all of your heart's desires into your world, and so that you can live your dream life in reality now. The other piece that I love to get people to start with, especially if they have a lot of like money junk going on, is the Clearing Money Blocks 101 workshop. So this workshop just literally clears the most common blocks and negative energy and negative emotions that people have around their money right now. So if you saw money in a way that you actually really don't like, if you tuned into that relationship that you have with money right now and you're like, oh, I don't like that and you need to like do some work there, Clearing Money Blocks is amazing for this. It helps you go deeper into clearing out the old stuff around having debt or a line of credit or going too much into spending or being really constricted with your energy and saving it, and not feeling safe to invest or spend any of it. So all the different unhealthy aspects that are coming up with money, you clear it so you can feel lighter and more responsible and more aligned and in a healthier relationship with money. Oh no, the countdown's not working right now. Okay, well, we'll get that fixed. I'll get my VA to make sure that that gets updated for us and we can have the early repricing countdown clock right there. But it does run out on December 17th. So a week from today, 7 more days. But until then, you get the early bird investment of $9.97. And then once the countdown does officially run out on December 17th at midnight Pacific time, then it's going to increase the price to $1,111. Okay. Oh, the updates didn't happen. Okay, so in total, when you get the course, you'll get all the previous course modules. So the 7 video modules that right now, if you just get like the digital program, it's $9.97 on my website. You'll also get the 6 additional live group coaching and healing calls with me, valued at $1,111. And then the Facebook community, which is literally priceless. Like, I love that, like, it gets to create amazing friendships. Like, the people from the first course are friends and they comment on each other's stuff and they like set up calls with each other. And like, it's so much fun. Like, the people in the 3-month group that just ended, like, we had our last call on Tuesday and they were all like, let's like have a whole party and we like drink wine together and we celebrate our wins and like we hang out, and like, it's just like such a soul family community. Like, I love the souls that I draw in for my world, and then they all just like love each other so much. So it literally is priceless to build this community and then have friends for life. Most groups that I do, I see like years later that they're still like commenting on each other's posts and stuff, and it's like, that's so sweet that they met in one of my group containers. So I love having Facebook community support. And then you also get the bonuses of Clearing Money Blocks, which is $50, and Manifesting 101. So I'm totally going to update that because I guess it didn't update the last total that we did. But today you save a ton of money because only $9.97 for all the things. So then you can choose between 2 payment options. If you want to do the pay in full, it's $9.97. And if you would like to do the 3-month payment plan, then that's $297 a month for 3 months. And you still get everything. You still get all the calls, the community, the digital course, and all the bonuses. It's just your choice if you'd like to pay in full or do it in installment plans. And then I also have a testimonial, and I'm going to be adding more testimonials. And I have all the details about me and the call dates. So it officially starts on December 28th with our live call. And we're actually going to open our Facebook group sooner than that. So you guys get even more support on your journey to ensure that, like, if you want to be doing work during the holidays, you get that level of support in your world. I actually believe that this is supposed to be a 1. So we'll make little tweaks to our sales page. I wanted to like get this up and ready for our call today, but we're going to have the Facebook community officially open on December 14th because my 3-month container was closing this Friday on the 11th. So I wanted the people who are choosing to say yes and go into the next levels and actually get this 6-week course as a bonus that they can continue their Facebook support. So that group is actually going to start and open in the Facebook support world on December 14th. Yeah, so then this is the options again at the bottom. You've now seen the beautiful sales page that my amazing VA has created. And if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to reach out with me. If you are watching the replay, you can definitely just reply to the email. So laura@coachlaurmcphee.com. If you're already a Facebook friend with me, you can totally also just send me a private message on Facebook or on Instagram, whatever your like preferred way of speaking is. And I would love to connect with you, make sure this is like the best fit for you in moving forward in your life and in your business. I also have different levels. I have private coaching. I have a higher level group going on. So depending on exactly where you're at in your life and in your business, I'm here to support you in any way that I can if you're feeling called to those next steps. So I'm sending you guys so much love and light. And I'm super grateful for all the amazing work that you're doing in the world. Like, thank you so much for shining your light, for sharing your gifts, and for having that desire to support more people and following that desire to this call to be like, how do I create even more impact in the world? So I honor you so much and thank you so much and appreciate you so much for supporting this mission in the world of creating an even better place, an even healthier, even more happy, even more whole place in the world for us all to live in. So thank you so much and have an amazing night. Bye.